Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Flip. My name is Chris Schroeder. I'm here with my co-host Matt. This is a show for anybody that's looking to start, grow, or scale their phone flipping business and from a side hustle into, a serious thing. I'm your host, Chris Schroeder. Been flipping phones for like 8 or 9 years now. I don't know, I lose track. But we're going to be talking about tips, tricks, and strategies and stuff to help you dominate the game. Before we get started, though, just want to let you guys know we do have a brand new 2025 Ultimate Phone Flipping Guide. It's in our Facebook group. You can check it out in once you join the Facebook group. We also have an ebook that's $4.95. It's 112 digital pages, and you can also get it for free on episode 11 of the podcast. But with that being said, let's jump right into this thing. What is up, Chris Cripe? Man, it's
Hey,
been a long time since, I mean, you've been around for as long as me, maybe even longer, um,
true.
in the space. So, dude, what's it like being in the phone industry for, you know, I mean, I know in the beginning you didn't have a car and everything, and it was definitely you had everybody coming to you. Like I remember you talking about that. And I remember you were one of the I don't drive to anybody either. Like everybody comes to me. So, but you were probably one of the first people I saw that actually made that happen just because you didn't have wheels. So let's run it from the top. How'd you get into the phone flipping game?
I mean, when I first started, I got into phone flipping because I had a first job right out of high school, and you know, I just probably got just about, if not the worst first boss you could have for a job. He cussed me out all the time. He called me a POS. He's like, I don't know why I hired you. And I mean, we would take trips out to, different cities and different states that were 2.5 hours away. And he would just find like joy in like scaring the crap out of me because I'd fall asleep because I
What?
didn't have a car. And he would just like scare the crap out of me while I was sleeping. And I would like wake up and um eventually one day we got into it so bad, I just quit. I was in tears, crying, and just walked out and walked home and, you know, sat in my room, sat at home for a couple months and then got tired of that and was like, I really need to do something with my life. And I looked up on YouTube like ways to make money like on your own. And phone flipping was actually, I think, the first thing that popped up. But I did more digging and I did like came across Amazon, everything like that. Phones to me just made the most sense. I mean, everybody has a phone, everybody's constantly upgrading. Um, so yeah, I ended up picking that and came across David Kosciuszko's course and YouTube videos like you did.
Yeah.
Um, just started with his free content, built up my money until I had enough. And I was like, well, I don't have anything to lose. I'm playing with house money at this point. So bought his course and went from there.
Wow. Love that. Yeah. So you came up, same way most people, well, I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people that came from Dave's program. We've actually worked with a lot of them now too, as well. Um, what was it like whenever you bought his course the first time? Like, I always like to hear that, like, because I know I did the 3 pay plan way back when, and like that's how I had to make things work with it. And I remember I was doing the same thing. It was a hurricane. I couldn't work. And it was like, how do I make money myself? Like, and I know a lot of people are looking for that as well. It's like, how do I make money without a boss, without a job? How do you do that? So, yeah, dude, tell us about your journey with all of that.
I mean, I was scared. Like, I was messaging Dave like crazy. I was going back and forth with him. It was to the point he's like, "Look, man, like I'll get on a phone call with you," and he's like, I'll make sure you succeed." Like, I was just pestering the crap out of him, and I did the payment plans as well. And, he helped me quite a bit. And then that was pretty much it. Just started and went full force in because I was just so excited to do something that was not, a job for somebody else. Because I was at that point in my life, I was just like, there's no way that I can work for somebody. I was terrified that's how, every boss was going to treat me. So I
Yeah.
had a lot of like fear around going and getting another job.
I mean, that's understandable for sure. I think one thing a lot of people don't realize is how quickly you can actually get out of a job with flipping phones. Of course, you most of the time need a job to get into it as well. Like you need to balance them both. Um, I know I had to do that. I didn't leave my job until I was making double, right? What's that like? I know you're working now also, but you're also kind of resetting everything. Like you were doing some direct buying deals for a while, you said, and you were fixing and flipping. I know that's a lot that like I get DMs I don't fix anything. So I have no like I don't want to fix anything, have no desire whatsoever to do that. So what's that like though? Like what's it like fixing and flipping? Is there better profit in it? Because everybody's always asking me that.
Yeah, there's definitely more profit in it. Obviously, you're cutting out like another person. I mean, there's always going to be somebody at the end that is buying it to fix it and flip it. You're kind of just cutting out that middleman. But at the same time, I mean, this has been something that's been weighing on my mind for so long. Is just like the long-term scalability of fixing things and flipping them, and just like my desires not there to fix things. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, that's definitely something that always weighs on my mind as well. But I mean, just the there's perks and negatives to both. Like, so I mean, like I can make what I make, on a mail-in, fixing and flipping something as I would if I was to go out and buy something locally without, the risk and the hassle of dealing with other people as much, stuff like that. You can get a box of 10, 20 phones and they're the same profit that you would make on, you know, a average deal probably locally. So, there's positives and negatives.
Yeah, I know that's pretty much what Feldon does now, is he just does mail-ins and fix and flips. And of course, I want to talk about that a little bit. Like that's a whole skill in and of itself is just repairing stuff. Like it's a whole skill that I have nothing that I want to do with. I saw Feldon showed me all of his machinery one time, like on a Zoom call, and I was like, I don't want that at all, man. Like, here's my machinery, boxes, you know, like so.
Yeah, it can be especially like refurbing, um it can be very stressful. I mean, if you're off by like a millimeter, if your wire's not in the right spot or whatever, it's goodbye to a $300 screen. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then you have to deal with like either, you then have display messages because you have to, replace the screen again, and it's not the original. But luckily, Apple seems to be helping the market a little bit in the sense that if you use the original screen, like not the screen that came with it, but you pull it from another phone, it at least says that it's an original Apple screen now. Before it was saying it was like
Oh
ungenuine screen.
yeah.
Yeah. So, that's nice, but even now, like direct buyers still don't buy stuff, even if it's replaced
Yeah, of
by Apple, or they want to consider it like C grade.
course they do. Absolutely. You know, deductions for everything. Matt, you have any questions on any of that, dude?
Um, I feel like if you're gonna be a fix and flip guy, you've really got to be passionate about the way you kind of get in there and like tinker with stuff. Um, so I'm guessing like people that might resonate with this are people that have a strong like, I don't know, inclination to solve puzzles or like problem solving ability or, like a real investigative personality because it seems like lots of times, like, I mean, it's like a car, right? Like a mechanic. Like, hey, let's take a look at it and find out what was wrong with it. And you're troubleshooting until it's just trial and error. Like, we tried that, that didn't work. Tried that, that didn't work. Like if the battery dies, is it the alternator? Is it the battery? Like, is it the starter? Right? And so for me, that I hate that process. Like, I despise it. I have no interest in doing it. Um, so like, I don't know, like I guess what thing is sort of drawing you like into reselling now? Like what aspect of reselling do you really like have you really discovered? I love this and this is kind of like my lane and my focus.
I mean, that's where, like I said, I've struggled with, like the path that I'm going down.
Yeah.
Like like I said to Chris, like right now I'm just working a job, um, and I just am selling stuff. I'm not even buying right now. I've been kind of like MIA for months now,
Uh-huh.
and just kind of, trying to figure that path if it's I'll be honest, if it is even phone flipping or flipping something or what it is, because I mean, ultimately, I think there's always going to be a desire in me to do more than just a job.
Sure.
Like I was talking to somebody about being like a store manager at Walmart. And
Yeah.
they make good money. They make over six figures a year. But
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, I don't know if that could ever be it. Um,
Yeah.
to answer your question, I really don't know because I don't have that desire to repair phones. Like
Yeah.
it was always just something that was like the money's better in repairing, and I have time. Like that's always been what it's been.
Yeah.
And even with phone flipping, it's never been like a passion of mine. I don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well,
So you've checked that box and obviously you've now here's what I think is the rub is you've scratched an entrepreneurial itch. So you know that you have like that you are an entrepreneur is pinging around in there somewhere inside of Chris Cripe. What's that guy going to gravitate towards next? And I think it's important for people to realize that it's okay to not know sometimes. Like you've tried some things, you've stepped away, you've given yourself some space to try to figure this out and not, forced yourself to just be miserable by doing something that maybe is not your favorite thing. Um, You've also had just several moments where you've had to stop and restart. And I
that's
think
something
a
I
lot of
wanted to
people
touch
a
on
lot
there.
of
Yeah.
people look at this and go like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to get in phone flipping and it's instantly going to be like Aaron Goldstein dollars, right? Like Aaron had a month where he did like 30 grand or something ridiculous and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, who's your direct buyer?" Like they're asking all the questions like they're about to run out and get like 30K in a month. And I'm like, these mofos are tripping. Um so like, what would you say to the people that are listening to this and maybe that their success, feels splotchy, it feels touch and go. Like what would be your encouragement to them?
I think definitely a lot of people, especially along my journey, are gonna have a lot of ups and downs. It's never been, don't get me wrong, there is a couple of people they have their ups and downs too, but their path has been more, straight and like climbed like a good linear path.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of ups and downs. I think that's a big thing of being an entrepreneur. You got to understand there's so many ups and downs,
Yeah.
and like I didn't plan for my life to be where I am at 20. I'm 27 now.
Okay.
Like they have to go get a job. Like like you gotta be okay with things as well and know things aren't more than likely gonna go as planned. And it's
Yeah.
okay to reset and regroup.
Yeah.
And yeah, because like I legit like thought like I was gonna be like a millionaire by 25. I was like, because I came in the course and like I actually had pretty quick success.
Yeah.
I feel like I was, doing $10,000 a month in sales.
Wow.
I feel like within a couple of months, and then 30,000 $30,000 months were not very far off after that. And then it was actually spiraled down pretty quick after that. Just,
Okay.
I don't know. I just lost the drive and stuff. So,
Yeah. Lost some traction.
I know
Um,
it's definitely like I know in the beginning we see this a lot with students is there's a big motivation push, right?
yeah.
Especially after they paid a substantial sum to work directly with us.
Yeah.
Um, like Omar, this is actually a really good example, Matt. I don't know. He's probably DMing you all the time, but like after
Fair.
he actually joined the program, he put his
Yeah.
first payment in, he like shot up quickly, right?
Yeah.
And we
Yep.
actually see a lot of that whenever somebody makes a first payment or something. Like even myself, I do the same thing. It's like I paid in. Now I got to get what I need out, right? Like it's almost like an immediate thing that I have to do. I don't know why. And I don't know why that's a big motivation, but I think it has to do with like a loss of status in a way. Um, and you want to regain that status. If you read the book by Russell Brunson, he talks about its expert marketing or something like that. I can't remember. Expert secrets. He talks about this is like once you lose a little bit of money, you quote unquote like lose status, right? You don't have the same status. We're always trying to find an equilibrium when it comes to status. Uh,
Yeah.
because we want this new skill, but we also have to like invest in getting that new skill. It's kind of like going to
Yeah.
college. Let's be real. Most people go to college for status. Let's just be real. Do you go to an Ivy League school for anything other than that? Let's be real. You know, you go
Good
there to
point.
say you went to
Yeah.
Harvard, right? So,
Yeah.
but I want to touch on the ups and downs of like the business. And I think it's a good thing to point out. We did the video a while back on the Valley of Despair and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is a really good point to bring in because in at the very beginning you find this new opportunity, right? You get really excited, right? You
Yep.
you hit a high basically is what it is, a high on motivation. And then you just start kind of realizing that this thing isn't as simple as possible or
Yeah.
as it isn't as simple as you thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
essentially. And then you start going down the hill to the Valley of Despair, and then you kind of hit that crux, right? That
Yeah.
crossroads where
Yeah.
it's like, shit, do I like hold this out and keep going, or do I like drop it all and start a new opportunity?
Yeah.
Right? I went through that cycle like 4 or 5 times, you
Yeah.
know? Like, yeah, I was banging around between a couple of different opportunities, the whole marketplace drop shipping and SMMA and all of these different opportunities,
Yep. Crypto, all of it. Yep.
Yeah, all of it, man. Like you bang around on all these different opportunities, but the thing is that that graph stays the same.
Yeah.
Like you get that initial high, and then the motivation and everything goes down, and then you're like, do I stop and start a new opportunity, or do I stick this out for
Yeah.
the long haul?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a real thing. It's just like you said, Chris. Like the entrepreneur game is it's up and down. Like, and phone flipping is up and down by month. Like
Yeah.
it's like woo, like
Yep.
it's crazy what can happen. Um, Especially if you don't have a consistent lead flow. If I mean, you probably run into where you're picking up from one guy and making all your deals that way. Like I've run across that many times. Um,
Yeah.
I always love those people that come in and, I'll always ask them, so where are you getting your leads from? Oh, I got a guy. I got a supplier. He's bringing me phones. I don't ever need to get leads.
Whatever.
What would you say to those guys, Chris?
Um, they, I say they all disappear
They do.
because
Ah,
I mean, there's multiple reasons of why they disappear, but they all disappear. And nothing like that lasts. Even I remember a couple years ago, there was a thing at Walmart where the excess was $99
Remember that.
and the excess max was 199.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went so hard on that. But I mean, like I said, it all goes away eventually, you
yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
the even with my main source was like Facebook free groups.
Oh man, I remember those
That's
days.
that was back when like in my heyday of doing things because I would post in like 80, 90 groups a day and I
Oh,
was just rotating my Facebooks and rotating my IP address and like walking to the library one day and then walking to a coffee shop. Like
incredible.
I miss those days. But like I said, you know, everything I feel like in life has its cycle
Yeah.
Yeah.
and its timeline, and you got to take advantage of it
Yeah.
while it's hot, but you can't put all your eggs in one basket and be like, oh, I got this guy that
Yeah.
sells me phones or
Yeah.
because they're always gonna, let's be honest, just like we're looking for $5 higher or whatever, or how most people are looking for $5 higher. Everybody,
Yeah,
the
it does the same thing.
sellers are no different.
Yeah.
They're looking for the next person that'll pay them $5 higher.
Straight up.
Totally,
Um,
yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, uh, it's such an up and down business, but it's fun. Yeah, so
yeah. Well, I think, hey, I think based on what Chris is saying, somewhere between Chris and Chris, is, if you like roller coasters, then entrepreneurship is for you. Um, but I don't, I just don't. What I think is cool is that we can have a conversation that just doesn't look like instant gratification. And that really pushes against the grain of culture. It runs against the grain of what we're conditioned for culturally, from, this TikTok generation and all the things that are like peddled in front of us to make our life convenient and comfortable. And there are days where, as an entrepreneur, I might have traded my teaching job now for working like 10 to 12-hour days sometimes because there's just stuff that's got to get done. Or, we've just onboarded a bunch of people, but I'm also running my own business and I'm selling stuff and I'm like, just changing out hats all the time. And decision fatigue is a real thing. And so I think what this does is it exploits a couple things. Is first, like starting off the day and being clear what your day looks like and having like a organized structure. Like there's a degree where this job or this, sexy entrepreneurship ends up feeling just like any other job.
oh my gosh.
And if you can't fall in love with that process, if you can't be like, I am going to absolutely like sometimes oatmeal is better than no meal, and I'm going to eat this that's right in front of me. And so that's what you got to do. I think the other thing, and I'd love to come back to that because I feel like that probably provoked Chris Schroeder. But like the other thing is diversification. Like if you can get really good at finding different ways to source your inventory and make money, like that's the real skill set that I think the best resellers really possess. And that's a problem that we try to solve. And between all this, like it's going well. But Chris, I don't know, to anything
No, I
to
mean, definitely, dude. Like, I mean, there's days this feels like a job. Like,
straight up.
like I will say the coaching sometimes feels like there are days where I have answered the same question 4 times in a row from four different people. And I'm just like there's days I'll just wait until the next day to reply, you know? Like when
Yeah.
the mind has reset after a good sleep, you know? But it's also the same thing with reselling too. It's like you do the same thing, and Matt, you and I have talked about this. Like, holy moly, like we, on our Tuesday calls before your console call,
Yeah.
we've had those days where it's just like, dude, the reselling is so boring. Like,
Yeah.
nothing interesting is happening anymore.
Yeah.
Where it's just, yeah, I went and I picked up this phone. I made $150, but I've done that a few thousand times at this point. It's like, dude, it's boring. What do I do?
Yeah.
Like, but like, and that's so crazy. Like hearing myself actually say that, where back in the day, working at the restaurant, $150, dude, it was $150.
Hey, not
Come
lying.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
think one point I wanted to touch on too, and it's something that I struggle with, and it's kind of related to what you guys are talking about, is how important it is just to have a why. Like, because like you said, it gets so mundane, like
Yeah.
you want to do something different, and something different is exciting, but that thing's gonna be boring eventually too. Like,
yeah,
So true.
you know, and I think that's a big thing that I've struggled with in like wanting to come back is I don't have a huge why. Like my why's always been, money and that's not a big, like I don't know how to put it. Like it's not a good why.
Yeah.
Like because A, it's never ending, and B, money can once you get to a certain point, if your goal is just money, you're living a good life. It is what it is. Like you
Yeah.
don't have a reason to do anything else.
Yeah.
So I think a why is, a big reason. Like, for some people it might be kids or,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know, for me
Yeah.
that's been something that I've struggled with as somebody that's 27, doesn't have kids.
I think
I'm
you can
just a
also
bit
manufacture your why.
Yeah, I'm just like kind of living up like
Yeah.
you know what I get by like on my job. I'm not, part of me is even like why even come back to business or but then part of me is just like I have to do something more as
Yeah.
well.
I think
So
it's truly possible. Like you can also manufacture a why for a little while as well. Like you can make a certain thing, your quote unquote why, for a limited amount of time until you actually find the real thing, right? Like I don't know if they're like if what I'm doing, helping these people grow and scale their businesses, if that is my why. I just know that's what I do every day. Like, do I enjoy it? Sometimes. There's other times where I just don't. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but I think, I don't know what my why. Like, I have my children and, that's a big part of it. But like feeding them is probably my, I'm just kidding. Like,
So funny. That's hilarious.
but at the same time, like, I think you can just like make it up. You can make up your why, you know?
yeah. I don't think
Um,
it has to be like some thought out process that you have to
no,
take like 10, like yeah, I should clear that up a little bit though too. Like it doesn't have to be something like where you have to sit at your desk for 7 days and procrastinate
yeah,
and be like, if I don't get this, like I'm not gonna succeed. Like,
yeah.
Right.
but
I think some
yeah.
people do dwell on it like that though, and I did want to like put that out there. Is like, I heard a quote a while back, and it really changed a lot of things for me. And the quote was, "Your mind actually doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you make up. That your mind does not know the difference. So like you could literally like I do a visualization practice every day where I just think about myself in the future in that moment because
Hmm.
my mind cannot tell the difference. It doesn't like I say it as if the thing has happened, right? And now it's funny because like things are coming to actually happen now, um,
Uh-huh.
because it's almost like it pulls towards it a little bit. But
Yeah.
like that's why like with people like they're like, I don't know my why. Like, why am I doing this business? And I'm just like, well, you don't really need a why, you know? Like if you
Yeah.
need to make money, that can be you just need to make money. Like that doesn't have to be your why, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just think that's interesting is that you can trick the mind a little bit into because it's funny. The mind is a very interesting thing because we're thinking with it right now, but
Yeah.
you can also trick it into believing something that isn't truly real yet, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that's an important thing. Also, all words are made up as well. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I totally almost lost my crap one time when I did that. My wife was like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "All words are made up. Feelings aren't real." Dude,
I've gone down that path before too.
that's a path. It really is. Like I was losing it. Like I had to like consult. Like I have chatbots that I built for Alex Hormozy and Andy Frisella, and I was like I had to like consult those little bot things, and they were like it doesn't. The Andy Frisella one was like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if all words are made up.
Get your crap together, Chris.
Get your crap together. Yeah.
That's so funny. I think in the context of what we're talking about, I heard about a study where they were trying to determine, okay, what general amount of money seems to help people establish a level of comfort where, beyond this amount, joy or happiness doesn't really tend to like go up. And it wasn't a lot. It was somewhere between 75 to $90,000. And beyond that, most people are just like, meh, you
Yeah.
know, more is more, but to what purpose? Is this a means to an end? And so I think that the altruistic element that is combined with Recelerator, which is helping people get a leg up, like I was able to discover, or other resellers I know, um, is also really helpful. My faith is huge. Of course, Chris knows this. Um, but then like beyond that, I think it's literally like spelling out those things. And there's an old hymn. It says, "Count your blessings one by one and call them each by name." And some people might say, "Well, I just wake up and I practice gratitude," which in some ways isn't much different. But uh, I think seasonally we tend to like pivot in and out of that space. Like right now, people are very aware of that. Come January, when it's not Q4 anymore, are those resellers still going to be aware of that? February, when when the bottom falls out of all these prices and phones look like crazy, and it's the February, March, April version of
Yep.
of reselling again.
Oh
And
yeah.
Chris and I's inbox are filled with people going, "Have you seen phone prices?" And be
Yeah.
like, "Golly, no, we haven't looked at them in the last 9 years." Had no idea that those were going down on a regular basis. I thought everything was supposed to go
I do
up.
love the phone flipping apocalypses. Like those are my
Yeah,
favorite. Because I get
yeah.
people in my DMs like every time something happens, and it's like, oh wow, another one, cool. I'll just make another YouTube video, just going over it. Like, not that I haven't made like six of them already, 6 years.
Right,
But
right.
dude, I do gotta go buy a phone and an iPad here shortly, along with
Well,
picking up my child. But
huh.
Chris, is there anything like you like? I got a lot of like brand new listeners to this stuff. Is there anything you would like want to pass on? Because you've been doing this for quite a few years. You've been up and down in business like most people. Is there anything you would tell the people that are just getting started with this stuff?
I mean, I think a community is very important as well. Um, like even just talking to you guys, I'm like sitting here like, okay, maybe I want to flip some phones or something, you know. So I mean, a community is very important. I think surrounding yourself with like-minded people. I think that was a big thing when I made the transition from, a free group to even a paid group. The level of commitment is night and day difference.
Yeah,
The quality of people are night and day different. Um, and just, take action. I think it was one of the best things that I ever did. And I've learned so much, like
mhm.
not even from the money standpoint, like the perspective of like how much I've grown and matured as like a human. I
Yeah.
remember when I came in the course, like I was always getting in arguments, and I was a very, very negative person. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I remember one time actually they were gonna end up like blocking my comments or not allowing me to post in the group or something because I was so negative. And just like just even like the maturity growth
No.
of like
Yeah.
owning your own business
Yeah.
and doing that, I can't even place a dollar amount. Like the how much value that is, I can't even say how valuable that is
Yeah.
in of itself. I think everybody should, at least have a side hustle, you know.
Totally. And with inflation, some people kind of almost have to, or need to. Um, One thing I really love, Chris, is that you've kind of come through this, and I think there's been a trial by fire in your circumstance, financially, circumstantially, and other ways. It's probably taxed some relationships in some kind of way. I'm sure emotionally there's been strain and challenge. But what I love is that, you come out of this and you're a kind human. And I feel like there's so many resellers that are like a-holes and like super, super greedy. And I just, to anybody listening to this and you're like, yo, I'm fin to change the game. Y'all better watch out. Like, okay, cool. Like you can flex. That's great. But like at the end of the day, like you still want people to like you and you need to treat people like they're more than just another transaction because if you don't, you won't be running a successful business anyway. Um, and I really enjoyed talking to you, dude. I really have.
Thanks
Yeah,
for coming on, Chris. This has been
I
good, dude.
appreciate it. It was great talking to you guys as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make some money now.
Straight up. Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been another episode of the Smart Flip. Thanks for coming on and listening. Appreciate you guys. And if you guys are looking for some help, feel free to check out the description below. You got the Tech Flips Profit ebook, and then you can also feel free to apply. Please watch the video for if you plan on working directly with us in the mentorship program, watch the video first. Stop just booking calls without watching the video. It's important because if you come in and you're like, I didn't watch the video, I will cancel your call.
That's right. We'll send you poop in the mail.
Anyway, guys, check out the cool stuff that we got in the description below. Join the Facebook group, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.